Hey there. What's up, Happy Innovators? How are y'all doing, huh? You hanging in there? You doing good? I hope so. You know, a while ago, a long time ago, right around the time, right after the time really, where I stopped playing live as a drummer, which was a while ago now, probably about 20 years ago now, actually. I had the urge to try my hand at acting, theater, acting on stage in a play, because I'd always kind of wondered what it would be like. And I always kind of thought that if I had a chance to try, I might actually do pretty good at it, okay? And as it turned out, I actually did. I was able to memorize my lines pretty well. I was able to do it. And, a lot of the people around me in this play had been in several other plays, and more than a few of them had kind of commented to me that, I might have a little bit of a knack for acting. I might actually be pretty good at it. And I wasn't really surprised. I always thought I could do it, But the reason that I'm bringing it up is because really, although I learned a lot of different things from that experience, the one thing that I really learned the most, and the one thing that really kind of stuck with me after I gave that a try, was how difficult it is to be a really good actor, I was able to pull it off. I was able to act. I was able to do it. But to be a really great actor, it's very, very difficult to do. And most people probably can't do it. Okay, it's probably one of those things where it's what is it? A fifth of the human population can hit a major league fastball, Well, that's kind of what I think acting might be like. Really good acting, really, really good acting, like Daniel Day-Lewis level acting, And I'm bringing it up because it's this recurring thought that I have because, I find myself nowadays when I'm watching television, I think a lot of the time what I'm watching is actually staged and not real, okay? And I'm watching people who are acting, okay, but they're not good actors. They don't know how to act. They're not really good at it. They think that just anybody can do it. So they get up in front of the camera and they're doing their thing. They're working their con or whatever they're doing. And it's really kind of, wonky acting. It's easy to see through that this is not real, but they think they're doing great. They think they've got you fooled, and lately when I watch the news or something like that, I just kind of get this feeling like I'm being conned, when I don't know if you've ever had a situation like this, but I most definitely have, where I have two people in front of me, okay, and they're engaging me and they're acting like they don't know each other, but they really do, but they don't realize that I can tell that they're lying, that they're not really strangers, and they're trying to, pull one over on me. They're trying to fool me into thinking that they don't know each other for one reason or another. Maybe they want something from me or whatever. They're trying to gauge my reaction or get a reaction. And why that is, I don't know, but that's just how it goes sometimes with me when I run into people. And not a lot, obviously, but sometimes. And I just kind of wonder sometimes when I'm watching the news right now, I get that sense it's a 3-card Monty, you have these two opposing sides that are presenting themselves this certain way where they hate each other or something, but something is kind of telling me that something's not right. There's a lot of holes in this performance I'm watching, and it's not really clear exactly what they're trying to do or what they're trying to achieve, but it's clear to me, at least, that something isn't right. Like, I'm watching this thing play out in front of me, blue states, red states kind of thing, but I just get the sense that what I'm watching is bullshit. Like, absolutely every bit of it is fake. And that's weird, like if that were the case, that would be really weird. But then it poses like an even larger question, okay? Which is, what's really going on then? Like, what is the end that they're trying to achieve here? I'm not quite sure, but I find myself in that space, not so much in the beginning, because when this whole the COVID thing started, and the election, all that stuff, the election fraud claims and like all that kind of stuff about a year ago now. I'm not sure, I wasn't sure what was going on, really. There was a lot of confusion, but I noticed that there was this faction of people that were popping up that were like on the far right, and they were kind of saying things like, there's a coup d'etat, there's a secret, there are secret maneuvers taking place to reinstall Donald Trump as president, and there was this group of people around them, okay, like cheering them on and having this sense of hope, like they really believed this, okay? And I suppose like that's not entirely something that I wouldn't believe. Like I don't know, I don't know what is really going on, so someone brings something like that up, and I'll listen to what they're saying and do my best to discern what's true and what's not, obviously. But I needed time to go by a little bit before I could really deduce what was happening, or at least what I could see was happening, or come up with some idea. It wasn't enough to like get this kind of thing early on and make my conclusions. I couldn't do that because I didn't know. And at the same time all that stuff was going on, you have the stuff on the far left, like in Portland, and all this stuff going on. The statues being torn down, and riots and all that stuff. So I'm kind of like, I don't know. I don't know. What am I seeing? What is this? I don't know. But it didn't take too long for me to kind of arrive at the conclusion that whatever is going on here, it's probably not what we're seeing like on TV or like on YouTube or something. It's probably not what we're being shown, okay? There's something else afoot, but that doesn't matter because people still believe it. And, I can't say that I don't either. I don't know for sure what is really going on. I just get the sense that I'm watching these, two players in front of me that are acting like they're at odds with each other, but they're not really great actors, so they don't realize that it's transparent and you can kind of see through the act a little bit, especially after enough time goes by. So now I find myself in this situation where I'm sitting back, kind of scratching my chin a little bit and thinking, what in the hell is going on here? Now, what is really going on here? Like, if this is all BS, let's imagine for a second, okay, that all the stuff that we're watching on television right now or on YouTube or whatever, Democrats, Republicans, stolen election, COVID, Dr. Fauci, all of that stuff, China, the cargo ships off the shore, the break in the supply chain, Christmas is ruined for everyone in America. They're trying to have a communist takeover of our country, razor wire around the White House, or whatever the hell's going on. It's like, it's a show. It's a show. So I'm not quite sure what to trust, you know? I'm watching, like, even somebody like Donald Trump, and, you know, let's not forget that this guy was, like, killing it in the ratings when he was on that show. What was it, The Apprentice or whatever? This is a guy who has a handle on acting, you know, and probably a better handle on it than most other people realize. And he's probably like a better actor than anybody that he's around, you know. But I don't know. I see this stuff with Joe Biden falling asleep at that UN summit or wherever it was, and it's like, what is this? Like, what? The president of the United States fell asleep at like some kind of major, you know, international summit of some kind, whatever it was. You know, that doesn't make any sense to me. That's weird. It's too much. It's over the top. You know, it's bad acting. Like, what a weird narrative to push. Or like, you know, he's being interviewed by Anderson Cooper, and he's like standing there with his hands in front of him. So, you know, people are like, oh, he's got like, you know, dementia, or oh, he's like suffering mentally somehow, or whatever. And it's like, really? Like, you guys really think that? You really think that? Like, I don't know. And maybe I'm wrong. I could be. I'm not claiming that I know for sure. I certainly don't. There's no way I could. But I'm standing back like, what is this? What is this? This is not normal. Like, whatever this is, it's not what we're being told it is. Like, this is something else. That's how I feel. Like, I'm being conned. Like, I'm watching two people that are playing off of each other, you know, like opposing sides. And I don't know. It's so strange. Maybe you disagree with me, you know? Maybe you could prove me wrong. I don't know. Go ahead. You know, I don't care. I'm scratching my head. I'm standing back. I'm watching these events play out, and I'm kind of getting a little worried. You know, like, what is really going on here in America? Like, what is this? You know? Like, somebody said once a long time ago, I always remembered it, but I don't remember who said it. Okay? But they said something like, and of course I'm paraphrasing, they said, when fascism comes to America, it will be wrapped in a flag and carrying a cross. That's what they said. Okay? When fascism comes to America, it'll be wrapped in a flag and carrying a cross. And I just remembered that. Like, what a strange thing to say. You know? What a weird thing to think about. Let me think about that, you know? This idea of fascism finding its way into America, American culture, you know, American society. And what would that really look like, you know? I don't know. But I do know that I'm confused right now, and I'm standing back and I'm watching, you know, events and behaviors that are really kind of weird, and they're really like over the top. Everything is over the top. Like, when somebody is not a very good actor, that's what they do. They overact. You know, they have a tendency to overdo it because they don't have the kind of discipline and control over their craft to like make it seem real. You know, they're not good enough to do that. It's difficult to be that good. You know, it's difficult to be able to act really, really well. So when I see these things playing out and they're so over the top and overdone and ridiculous, you know, it's like ridiculous. It's like somebody who's very stupid and doesn't know anything about acting and how to portray something, like they don't, like they are not, they can't, they are incapable of pulling it off. You know, it's not just something anybody can do. You know, like one of the people that comes to mind that I thought was really weird and over the top was that one girl. I think she was like that one lady. Okay, lady, not a girl, it was a lady. She was like a secretary or something during the election fraud thing, and she showed up and she had glasses and blonde hair. I forget her name, but when I saw her testifying or whatever, I thought to myself, like, what the hell is this? Like, who is she? And like, what? This is ridiculous. This woman is like a character. Like if you were to write a sitcom, she's like a character on a sitcom. She's not like a real person or something. You know, she's not even presenting that way, you know? And I don't know. I'm not saying she was fake, or I don't know. I'm not saying that she wasn't speaking the truth or something, or, you know, that she wasn't legitimate. But dollars to donuts, I think she was an actress, and that's weird. Like, okay, if she is an actress, if there's all this kind of like bullshit and acting going on both sides of the aisle, like even in like Congress and the Senate and the House of Representatives. I mean, we're talking everybody, almost everybody. Like if they're all playing the game, whatever the game is, well, that's strange, isn't it? That's really creepy. And if that is the case, then what is really going on behind the curtain? You know? Is it something that we really need to be afraid of? And, you know, that's a strange question to ask. But that's kind of like where I'm at right now. I'm not making the claim that I think anybody is lying, okay? Because I don't know if anybody is lying. I don't know. But I do know when I'm watching something and it's bullshit. Okay, I have a bullshit detector that's probably a little more advanced than most other people realize, okay? Just from years and years of being me, okay? And I'm usually right. I'm not always right, but I'm usually right. You know, and to me, I don't know. Something smells funny in Denmark. You know what I mean? There's something weird afoot here. I don't know what it is. I don't know what the end game is. Okay? But I guess we're going to find out eventually. What I do know, okay, is that a lot of people around me are afraid. A lot of people are afraid right now. I think a lot of people are afraid that something really bad is happening in America right now. And we're all kind of waiting for the big reveal, you know, of what it will be. And man, I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. So, oh man, you know, sorry to bring you down if I did. It's not my intention at all, okay? But this stuff is on my mind. And this is the stuff that makes me want to grab the microphone and just start talking and at least put it out there into the ether that, you know, this other idea, maybe, you know? But anyway. What I really wanted to talk about today was my Onistwave experiment number 33. Okay, my 33-hour song. And I wanted to talk a little bit about this idea of the Onistwave music. I've tried to talk about it before. I've tried to make it clear, you know, as clear as I could to some people. I don't think that I'm very good at doing that sometimes. So I'm going to try to explain things again, okay, a little bit for you. You know, because a a lot of the time, I think that people who don't know me very well, who are on the outside, they don't really know what motivates all that kind of stuff, what motivated it in the first place. Like, I get comments all the time about it. Like, people don't realize, at least from my best judgment, a lot of the people who, listen to the rise and fall of Bossa Nova, or In the Garden, or 2 Hour Yes, or any of those longer Onistwave compositions that I have, they don't really understand what I'm trying to do or what's actually going on there, what it's about. And I guess what I wanted to explain before I explain anything else is that I never, ever intended to break the Guinness World Record. Okay? That was not something that I aspired to do in the beginning. Okay? In the beginning. And it also speaks to this idea that I think about from time to time. About when you have like an idea, when you're a person who is doing something creatively and you have an idea, okay, and you start to kind of like let that idea play out a little bit, and then before you even get to the end of the experiment, you stop and you put it down because you feel for one reason or another it's not good enough to continue with. Okay? One thing that I have learned, okay, through experience is that it's always better, okay, when you have an idea, it's always better to see the initial idea all the way through. Okay, like don't stop. Even if it seems like it's worthless or pointless or it doesn't sound good or it doesn't look good, it's not coming out the way you think it should, remember that you're only halfway through. You need to finish the process and then make the decision. Is it good or is it bad, or should I chuck it or should I use it or whatever? And I think that when I talk about Onistwave, it's a prime example of that, okay? Because in the beginning, a long time ago, back in like 2004, okay, I had the curiosity, the question of like, what would it be like if a song were very long? Okay, I guess maybe it's a throwback idea to that song In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida by Iron Butterfly. Like when I was a little kid, my big brother had that record, okay? And it was like one of the coolest things in the world that you had, maybe 5 or 6 songs on one side of this record. Vinyl. And then when you flipped it over, the second side, the B side, was all one song. And of course, as a little kid, I listened to it. I would stare at the album cover. I mean, it was just, to me, so fascinating that a song could be like that weird. And like, what is that like? And what does that mean? I think it was like a half an hour long or something, or maybe it was like 15 minutes long. I forget now. Believe it or not, I actually forgot how long In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida is. But the point is that I think that when I started to record myself at home, or actually even before that, when I was recording in recording studios back in Cleveland, like one of the questions I had for the engineers that I was paying to record me was like, what happens if, we go very far out with this song, like we make it really long, what would happen? How does that work? And they never really seemed to know. Like no one ever really bothered, or no one ever really cared to ask that question. They were so busy making 3-minute radio hits that, that's what it was all about. It wasn't about anything really experimental. Now, when I got the opportunity to record in my house, okay, on my own time, for free, unlimited recording time, okay, I was still, in the beginning, limited to the length of a cassette tape, because that's what I was recording on, at first. I had a Tascam cassette, a 4-track cassette recorder, and that was my first experience recording myself, in my own space and at my own pace, in my own time. All right. And that was cool for a while, but I was limited to the length of a cassette. And then when I started to record digitally, now the gloves came off, and I was off to the races, man. I could do whatever I wanted. So naturally, after a little bit of time learning how to record myself digitally, I started to ask that question again. Like, what would happen if, I went, let's say the average song is 3 to 5 minutes long. What would happen if I made a song that was 8 minutes long? Okay. And I think that, maybe Dream On, was one of those. I forget offhand right now the ones that I was kind of messing with, but I remember in the beginning that, I had like Dream On, and then I had another song called The Water of Fire. I think it was The Water of Fire that was my first real like experiment to go a little bit longer. I think it was maybe 9 minutes or 10 minutes long. And then I did a song called Try, and that was, I want to say it was like 18 minutes maybe. I should have wrote all this stuff down before I started talking, but the point is that I was just kind of gradually, just out of curiosity, just for my own sense of adventure, or a challenge to myself, I was going longer and longer with these song ideas. And then I think what happened was, because I posted at that time when I was recording my stuff, I posted pretty much everything I did on the internet, and I would gauge the response that I got from people and stuff, and it was a lot of fun to do. And when I posted that song Try, which was at that point like the longest experiment that I had done, the day that I released it, it went crazy. Okay. And it never stopped. Okay. That song just, for some reason, as soon as it hit, it just took off. And I saw that, like, whoa, hold on. Like, who would have ever imagined, okay, that like a 18-minute song or whatever it is would do that well, but it did. So then I got the idea, well, if that is something that works and something that, people actually want to hear, like when my 18-minute song is getting more attention than my 3-minute or 5-minute song, then I'm a pragmatist, Okay, maybe what I should do is continue with the experiment and see how far out I can go, right? Like, how extreme can I get with this before people will finally just say, you know what, forget this. This is way too much, Well, what I've learned, like over the course of time, having been doing this now for, well over 10 years now, is that most people really don't have any interest in listening to something that's 18 minutes long or 2 hours long or whatever. They're not interested in that. But there is a group of people that are. And that group of people, for whatever reason, some of the reasons are different than others, but they like that kind of music. They like it. It's what they prefer. They prefer long duration, repetitive pieces of music. Usually it's because they're working and they want to study, and it's like, while it's not a song that you dance to, okay, it's a song that is providing some kind of soundtrack in your room or whatever, while you're studying, while you're working, that will kind of like provide some kind of sound in the room so it's not completely silent, And the idea probably for most people is to have my music playing while they're working, turned down very, very quietly, maybe almost barely audible, which is the definition of ambient music. It's music for the room. It's not meant to be in your ear. It's meant to be subtle and in the background of your space or whatever. So that's when I started to really officially design pieces of music that were very long. And I came up with the idea for 2 Hour Yes, that came from a song called When the Wind Comes. It was like the intro to When the Wind Comes, and just one day I decided to loop that part. I've talked about this in podcasts before, which is why I don't understand, why a lot of the time it's misunderstood by a lot of people, but I guess not too many people are aware of all of the stuff I do or whatever. Okay, so they never heard the podcast. They don't know the story, and they won't listen to this podcast either. But you are, so I'm going to tell you. Okay? So that's that was the origin of the Onistwave thing. This idea of, making these pieces of music that are really, really outrageously repetitive and outrageously long. Actually, I should mention, because I've thought about this. I've had a lot of time to think about this. When I was younger, there was a group called Ministry. They're still around. I'm sure that a lot of my Happy Innovators have probably heard of the band Ministry, Al Jorgensen and Ministry. And I remember that a lot of the people around me when I was younger were listening to Ministry. They were a really popular band with a lot of the people that I knew, and not just the metalheads, and not just the punkers, and not just the goth kids and all that. It was everybody liked Ministry all across the board. Okay. And I did too. I thought they were extremely brutal music. Just really, really outrageous and huge sounding, But one thing about Ministry that I didn't like, okay, was that the music was industrial music. It was repetitive and very abrasive and aggressive and heavy, but it would just repeat and repeat and repeat and repeat and repeat and repeat. And that's what it was like. It was just relentless and brutal and, interesting, innovative, and creative at the same time. But for me, it was after a while, it was damn, turn that off. It's so relentless. It's so repetitive. Stop, change, do something else, but they wouldn't. That was the point. That was the punishment of listening to Ministry. That's what made them famous, So, but I didn't like that. But I always remembered that. I always remembered that repetitive thing. Where it was they would just take a section of music, maybe 4 bars of music, and they would just loop it for 5 minutes. And it was just extremely brutal, Well, when I started to come up with this idea of making Onistwave music, okay, I came up with my own name for it so that I would have a way to describe it to people. People say, "What kind of music do you play, Mike?" when they meet me for the first time. And I'd say, "Well, it's really long music." And, "Oh, it's new age?" "No, not really. I do a little bit of this, so it's not quite new age." And, "Oh, so it's this?" "No, it's not that. It's in between a lot of different things. It's a combination of a lot of different things that have never been put together before, really. So I don't have a genre for you. So what I'll do is I'll make up one called Onistwave, and here it is. And this is what it is. And here's the definition for it. So if you wonder what kind of music I make Onistwave music, and you can go look up the definition I've provided, and it'll let you know exactly what I'm doing, and that, that kind of thing. And I started to consciously experiment with the idea of repetition. Okay? 2 Hour Yes was a 2-hour experiment in repetition. But it was very chilled. It wasn't abrasive. It was very calm. It was relaxing. It made people feel good. Some people would fall asleep to it, And, I had this 2-hour version of this song, and I made it just one day. I took a section and I looped it, and it sounded okay. And I played it for my wife, and, it sounds pretty good. It's pretty interesting. And I'm like, yeah, it's 2 hours long, and I'm going to post it. I'm just going to see, I'm going to put it up on the internet and just kind of see if anybody will listen to it, if anybody will like it. And sure enough, just like with that song Try, as soon as I posted it, 2 hours long, 2 hours, it just went crazy, Okay, that's cool. What a weird discovery, to stumble across. And it could only happen by accident. And it could only happen over the course of like a lot of time, just to come up with the idea and the inkling and the energy and the will to make something that's 2 hours long. Who would even think of it? It goes against all the rules that any producer or studio engineer would tell you. I mean, 2 hours of a repetitious piece of music or whatever, it's not gonna work. That's what they would say. You can't do that. Well, yeah, I can do that, and I'm gonna do that. And you know what I found out is that people love it. I don't know why. Okay, I can't explain that. It's not my job to figure out why people like it. Okay? And there's a lot of people who don't like it. And there's a lot of people who don't get what's going on. They go, what is this crap? It's just repeating for 2 hours. It's like, dude, just because you don't get what's going on here doesn't mean that there's not other people who do get it. And there are other people who have a use for this kind of thing. Don't limit everybody's tastes to yours. Okay? If you don't get it and you don't understand it, then don't listen to it. And that's fine. I don't mind. Go listen to, something else. Okay? But I have found over the course of, let's say since 2014, so 7 years, about 7 years of this idea of, making Onistwave music, being in the Guinness Book of World Records, all that kind of stuff. I've gleaned from that a lot of experience. Okay, I've gotten a lot of comments. I've gotten a lot of positive and negative. I've gotten a lot of attention internationally, which didn't come right away. At the beginning of this whole Guinness Book of World Records thing, basically it was like the day that I made 2 Hour Yes, I asked my wife, because we were listening to it and talking, I asked her, I wonder what the longest song in the world is. So we looked it up, and at the time, the longest song in the world, I think, was like 1 hour and 20 minutes long, or something like that. And I looked at her, and she looked at me, and I'm like, is it possible that I've already broken the record? That's weird. And we checked, and sure enough, when I submitted my song to the Guinness Book of World Records, we broke the record. Okay? Now, that's my point, though, is that, you have to understand, I never intended to break the world record. That wasn't like a goal I had or a dream I had or something. I just happened to do it by being weird. What would have happened if I would not have finished that idea I had that one Saturday morning to take a section of music and loop it and then post it online? If I had not have seen that idea all the way through, then none of that Guinness stuff would have none of it would have happened. I mean, I would have stopped and went on to something else and forgotten about it, probably. you know? So like, that's my point. That was my original point anyway, about when you have an idea, what you should do is like finish the idea, like let it play out all the way to the end of your original conceptual idea, and then decide if it's worth anything or if it has value of any kind. You know, don't stop prematurely. Don't talk yourself out of it. Like, just, you come up with an idea, let it go all the way to the end, then make your choice, not in the beginning when it's halfway finished. And I didn't do that with the 2 Hour Yes thing. So that wound up, that experiment, that one day, that Saturday, that I saw all the way to the end, and then I posted it online that same day, that eventually led to all this Onistwave stuff and all of the Guinness Book of World Records. I broke the Guinness World Record 3 times, okay? And admittingly, okay, by the time I got to the rise and fall of Bossa Nova, like, I didn't care at that point, because I had already been a Guinness World Record holder for like a couple years or a few years. So like, I didn't care what anybody said at all, or what people thought, like whether they got it or not. Like, I didn't care. Like, I got it, and like a handful of other people did, and I would be doing this for them, you know, this idea. And of course for myself too, because it's a lot of fun to have something like the Guinness Book of World Records, you know, record. You know, that's really cool to do. It is. I won't lie. It's not all that you probably think it is. It's not even near what you think it is. And it took a very, very long time for my Guinness World Record thing to really catch on. It took about 6 or 7 years for it to really start to make a wave internationally, and I started to get attention and stuff like that. But it was like forever, you know. I remember like around year 7 or something, I said to my wife, like, right now the rise and fall of Bossa Nova is doing what I thought it would be doing on the first day that I released it. Like, it took a long time for people to catch on, but I'm grateful they did catch on. And you know, the Onistwave thing, like in my studio, in my laboratory, okay, has evolved and kind of changed a little. You know, I've refined the idea a lot. You know, I'm intuitive and I'm intelligent, and I can rethink things, and I'm creative. I can come up with things, and I did. You know, I didn't stop refining my idea. You know, back when I broke the world record for the first time, I continued with growth and thinking it through. And what if I did this? And oh man, I should never do this again. That was a huge mistake, or what a dumb idea that was, or, you know, whatever. You know, like, you work it out. I work it out. I worked it out. It took me a long time, and I'm still going. You know, I would imagine that the state or the form that is Onistwave right now, like at this time, will be different 5 years from now. Like, I'll be on to some other kind of thing, you know? And, you know, since I had broken the world record and everything, and I've been releasing a lot of Onistwave music, I've had the opportunity to work with doctors. I'm not kidding. I've actually worked with doctors, collaborated with like pain management experiments, sleep therapy, children with Asperger's. You know, like, this music I'm making is doing something for some people, like in their brain, that normal, regular music can't do or doesn't do. All right? There's something about what I'm doing, okay, and the way I do it, the way that it sounds, that is affecting people, like in a clinical setting or in a classroom setting, okay? That's actually happened a lot. So while I get some people that have no grasp or, they don't understand what I'm doing, including people in my family even. They don't get it. They just don't get it, okay? But I don't care, I don't care if anybody gets it. I don't care. I'm an artist. This is what I do. I make things whether people care or not, I make things for no reason or seemingly no reason. In this case, with Onistwave, I make things that do have a purpose for a lot of people. It's not top 40 radio, okay? I'm not making smash hits, If you want that, that's what Pipe Choir is for. That's what PC1 is for. For PC3, and this Onistwave thing, it's a whole separate thing, And it was never about fame and fortune. It was never about breaking the Guinness World Record. It was never about any of that stuff, okay? All it was an idea that I had, and I saw it all the way through to the end, and it has grown and blossomed into this thing that it has become right now. Okay? So I suppose I probably don't really need to explain too much more. I probably, though, in the future will do some kind of official, video or some kind of something, so that people will have something to watch. If they want to watch my explanation of this crazy, outrageous music that I'm making and its purpose, they'll have something to put their finger on, and press play, and they'll be able to understand what's going on here. This is not some vanity exercise. It's not some kind of bullshit fame and fortune thing. It's truly something that is fun and experimental and scientific, and it's mine. It is mine. I'm doing it by myself, and it's so much fun. It is so much fun, and it is such a pleasure to have people like it. Just recently had a fan of mine telling me they wanted my Onistwave experiment number 33, my latest Onistwave Big Daddy, the big one, 33 hours. I had to put it up on Spotify, and I didn't care about it very much, okay? It was something that I did. It was a fun thing to do. It was a lot of work, but that's okay. I like that sometimes. But I wasn't really wanting to push it too much. I wanted it to exist, and I wanted people to use it. I wanted the people who use Onistwave music to hear it, like it, and use it. I didn't give a shit about anybody else or anything else. I didn't want to submit it to the Guinness Book of World Records. I didn't want that. I wanted it to just be there, right? And that's what I did. And I just recently, per the request of a fan, or a couple fans, I guess, of Onistwave, they wanted it on YouTube. So I did that for them. I didn't do it for me. I did it for them. Because somebody wanted to hear it there. Somebody needed it there. So I put it up. It's there. And it's there for people to enjoy. And it's the most refined idea as far as Onistwave is concerned. It's of all the Onistwave songs and ideas that I've had, Onistwave experiment number 33 is pointing more in the direction of where it's going than any other music that I've made. All right, that's the most current state of this Onistwave thing, okay, which is an official genre now. It's being recognized all over the world. Okay, so Onistwave is a genre that I started, okay, and I didn't start it because I wanted to be famous, and I didn't start it because I wanted to be haughty and a rock star, okay, and I didn't start it because I wanted to make money, because God knows that that's never been the motivation for any of this stuff. I'm just weird, okay? I'm naturally weird. It's a gift I have, and I can capitalize on my weirdness, you know? Thank God. Literally, thank God, you know? I managed to do something, you know, that was of value and interest to people, you know? And that's how I see it. So, for all you people who, you know, go to the rise and fall of Bossa Nova and you make the comments like you don't know what this is, okay? Well, you know what? I don't care. Like, I don't care if you get it. I don't care. There are enough people who love it, okay? And as far as I know, at this point, you know, I might be the only source for this kind of music for people. So they're coming to me. I don't need everybody. I only need some of the people. You know, I only need a small audience. I don't need to be famous or something. That doesn't appeal to me. I had a taste of that. Trust me, it's not anything that I want. Okay, I've been spared it. And I still managed to do something that's kind of weird and kind of cool. And I call it Onistwave. And I make pipe choir songs from time to time too. So I'm proud of that. 22 songs for a pipe choir. 22 brand new songs. Well, okay, that's not true. They weren't brand new. Most of them are brand new. Some of them were redos, but they were all from the bottom up, you know, rebuilt and redone. So 22 new pieces of music in about a year and 8 months. It's pretty good. You know, I'm pretty proud of that project is done. And I'm also proud that in the same week I posted Onistwave experiment number 33 on YouTube. That was like a lot of work to do. And it's done. I'm happy. You know, I'm resting right now and I'm getting ready. Really, I'm preparing myself in all sorts of ways as far as equipment and just my mentality, cleaning up my studio, resetting everything, because now, after you know, about a year and a half of making pipe choir music exclusively, I'm ready to start working on new PC3 music now. And that's what you're going to be hearing from me before too long. I won't promise any kind of timeline or anything. I would probably, if you're a fan of what I'm doing and you're, you know, checking my stuff out on a regular basis, I would imagine there will be a lot of other things coming out between like today, right now, and the time I'm start to release new PC3 music. I have a lot of ideas for PC3 that are like unfinished. They're about halfway done. Like they're ready to go the rest of the way. And so if you are a fan of PC3 and you are a fan of like the Onistwave thing, the next, I would imagine anyway, the next couple years will be really fun for you, because I'm going to have a lot of stuff coming out. And before too long, and in between then, I'll keep you, you know, posted with podcasts and, you know, drum videos or whatever the kind of stuff I do to kind of like keep feeding the machine, you know. But eventually you're going to get some new PC3 music, so hold tight, you know, stay tuned. Yeah, I guess that's all I wanted to say today. I'll be putting out another podcast before too long, I'm quite sure. So, my happy innovators, one and all, I love you all, one and all. Thank you all for your support. Thank you all for checking out the pipe choir music over the past year and a half. It's been a lot of fun. I hope that you liked a lot of it. And I think some songs are better than others, but hey, that's all right, as long as the work got done and it was delivered, right? You got a chance to hear it. That's what this is all about, is just having people listen to my stuff and enjoy it. So, my happy innovators, with that, if you want to keep what you've got to give it away. Take it easy, y'all. Have a good weekend. Peace out. Okay, all you happy innovators out there who were kind enough and, generous enough with your time to stay after, when the podcast is over for some music. And what I decided to share with you today is a song that I released. I actually talked about it in the podcast just a little bit ago. I'm going to share with you a song called The Water of Fire, or Singing to the Sea. It had two titles. And this was really, if it wasn't the first real kind of experiment with a long song that wasn't 5 minutes or 3 minutes, it was like 8 minutes or 10 minutes or something. I forget what it is now. You'll find out in a couple minutes because you'll be listening to it. But it was like really my first experiment, my first kind of like, I'm going to do this today. I'm going to try to make a song that's, really long, 8 minutes or something. Like, oh man, that's long, And so I did, and that's what you got here coming up. So I know that I had released The Water of Fire, or Singing to the Sea, on one of my Ad Astra albums. Unfortunately, I don't remember offhand which album it was on. I think it might have been on 2, Ad Astra 2, PC3. I don't know. I guess it doesn't matter in the end, really. Just check it out here. Enjoy. Peace out, everybody. Have a great, great weekend. See ya.
almost completely free of errors.